Hello, my friends. This is Nick, also known as Social Cinema, live once again. Make sure my audio is good. Welcome to Fred Hampton Leftists. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation I had with Max Blumenthal yesterday. I got a video put up where he discussed his encounter with Adam Schiff as well. If you guys are joining the stream, say hi, welcome. So I just want to get right into it. How you guys doing? Let me guys know how the stream is going. If you guys can hear it, if the audio is good, the video is running well as well. So, of course, someone knocked on the door right when I said that. I think that's my landlord. Speaking of landlords, we're going to talk about landlords a lot here. One second. I think my landlord is here. 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. Lord, the landlord is here. What's going on?
You got the ring.
Huh?
You got the ring check?
What's what happened? Lord, I'm live. The landlord is here.
So you live. What you on a podcast?
Yeah, I'm live right now. Here we go. Sorry about that, guys. 1 second. 1 second. There we go. We got enough people in here to start anyway. So, Andrew Cuomo. I want to play a clip because now they did the independent probe on Cuomo. And before I show his response, I love what Glenn Greenwald put out there. Here, let's watch this video before we dive in and explain the insane liberal hypocrisy. Check this out. This is, as Greenwald points out, here's Andrew Cuomo in 2018, explaining how disgusted he is by the Senate Republican treatment of Brett Kavanaugh accusers and GOP general refusal to take sexual harassment seriously like it deserves.
This door always been kind of transformed, and this one
Party handling it is disgusting. I think the Senator McConnell could get up. We are going to confirm Kavanaugh. Just showed what a sham and a mockery the entire process is. You haven't started the hearings. How can you stand there and say, we're going to confirm the man? We haven't started the hearings, and the hearings are supposed to discuss facts, and we have very serious accusations, and the witnesses are going to come in, and they're going to be questioned by an independent counsel. But that's all baloney because I know the conclusion, and the conclusion is we're going to endorse him and confirm him. There is a disrespect for women that this administration chronically exemplifies. After the Me Too movement, they did absolutely nothing when it came to sexual harassment. They have always diminished the charges of women, always, consistently, and they're doing it again to cheapen or ridicule the pain a woman suffers from a sexual attack is disgusting, sexist and disgusting. To second guess how a woman should have acted after a sexual attack is sexist and disgusting. I mean, it's just insensitive. You don't understand the pain. You don't understand how the system tortures a person who wants to come forward.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I could probably do it. I ain't never did it before, but I could probably freaking do it. That's why. Yeah, I'm trying to. Like I said, before you go.
Yeah, I hear you.
I know. He's too good.
So, how funny is that? Sorry, we got live right when my landlord came in. I mean, it's the landlord's job to fix it. It's the landlord's job to fix that. It's not our job. It's his job to fix that. So I hear him saying like, "Oh, well, you gotta fix it." No, it's
somebody before I get into an argument with landlord. I'm gonna ask.
No, I hear you, Louis. I'm just saying it's his. I just hear you. It's his job, though. Like
he's done that for everything else. Maybe there's something different about doors I don't know about. So that's what I'm gonna ask.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that he got to figure it out. Landlord, like, yeah, the thing's broken, but maybe you got to fix it. No, we pay you rent for a reason. That's the job of the landlords to make sure things. I know, like, I wasn't planning this. Maybe I should start like coordinating when landlords gonna come here. But yeah, that's like we pay you rent. It's your job to fix our shit. Like, I just heard him just now, and I seen him do this before, where he kind of like, well, all you gotta do is do this. You gotta do that. No, you're the landlord. You're the landlord. That's how it works. They convince a lot of people with that rhetoric, but they're not gonna convince me. I've been patient with me. We just had landlords just walked in the middle of nowhere. I was playing that video. Maybe anyway, let's keep going. But I think that's an important lesson. Like when landlords try to be shady about fixing stuff, it's you guys you own the property. It's part of the contract. You gotta take care of that. So, all right, let me get back on topic. Let me get back on topic. Sorry, I got distracted. Well, the video we played, that Glenwald share, I wanted to start with that because I have liberals melting down in my mention because I called out the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party and liberals in general. Now that it's pretty much confirmed that Andrew Cuomo is sex pest, you're going to have a ton of liberals going back and deleting their old tweets. You guys remember when people was calling themselves Cuomo-sexuals? Like, that literally was Trevor Noah and Ellen DeGeneres. These people are about to walk that back real fast. Brooklyn Dad being another one. The guy I called out repeatedly. Look at this. You guys remember this trend? This is from Randy Rainbow. This is from last April 2020. And this has 60,000 likes. And I want you guys to realize this was when Andrew Cuomo was allowing seniors to die. And he had one of the most horrific COVID response out of any governor in the country. And now I think about it, like April 20th, I think that's when Lindsey Boylan already had her accusation against Andrew Cuomo. But you see, from now on, we identify as a Cuomo-sexual. And Brooklyn Dad, this guy, he referred to himself as a Cuomo-sexual. Now, why am I bringing up Brooklyn Dad? Because it was revealed a few months ago that Brooklyn Dad was paid by the Democratic Party to tweet. Now, what did Brooklyn Dad tweet about? Brooklyn Dad often used his platform to attack Tara Reid. We're going to talk about that here soon. He attacked Lindsey Boylan. So you got to think about what that meant, what that means. That means that Brooklyn Dad was paid by the Democratic Party, because I don't like sugarcoating shit. He was paid by the Democratic Party to attack sexual assault victims in order to play defense for rich, powerful white men. That's what Brooklyn Dad is. That's what he's about. And now go on Twitter right now and look at the Tara Reid tab. It's filled with people just like that. They're spending all their time attacking Tara Reid and delegitimizing Tara Reid in order to prop up the person who is funding multiple genocides. They are smearing Tara Reid in order to protect the guy who actually increased ICE budget. They are blaming Tara Reid and attacking her, to defend Joe Biden, who is expanding the police state. These are who the liberal class and Democratic Party uplifts. So I just want intellectual consistency. That's where I always been at. When Christine Blasey Ford came out and shared her story, I believed her. And I had my own personal where I evolved on this issue during the height of the Me Too movement. I remember before like Me Too and while Me Too was becoming established, I still remember like Bill Cosby and that being a shock to my system. Like, what? There's no way. What? Are you kidding me? Like I had the same misconceptions. Well, initially, like, bro, there's no way he did all that stuff. No way. But then I heard the stories of the women. I learned the same lessons that many people in the nation did in terms of Me Too. And then I learned from that lesson. I stuck up for Christine Blasey Ford and I started to listen to these women. Right? And the same way they're attacking Tara Reid is the same way you saw people attacking Christine Blasey Ford. So I'm just asking people to be intellectually consistent. This is why Democrats make my skin crawl. They run on women's issues, but they are willing to abandon victims of sexual assault to protect the powerful in a heartbeat. The same way Barack Obama killed the anti-war movement, the same way that Joe Biden killed the immigration justice movement, Joe Biden is now killing the Me Too movement. I want to see if I need to get my tweet. Because my tweet that I sent out is hilarious. This is because I think this is very telling of the Democratic Party or the liberal minds in the Democratic Party. This is what I tweet out. The Democratic Party is a party of Bill Clinton, Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Joe Biden, Andrew Cuomo. So a theme that I hit on repeatedly on my show, and you guys hear me mention this a lot on Fred Hampton Leftists, is the moral depravity of the ruling class, where they allow people like Jeffrey Epstein even to exist. And don't not get it twisted. The mainstream media, the corporate political groupthink, will love you to believe that Jeffrey Epstein is a one-off aberration, right? But no, I think Jeffrey Epstein, these people, they are one of many. And Epstein is a moron. Harvey Weinstein was the moron who got caught. But the ruling class rule with pedophilia. They endorse war criminals. They are white-collar criminals. The ruling class, they don't even look at you as a human being. They don't look at workers. They don't look at poor people as human beings. They just see them as human stock. And that's shown how they send people to war, force them to fight their dirty war and commit war crimes. And then once they get home, they don't even have the decency to take care of these people. Just to let you know how depraved the ruling class is. Hillary Clinton was famous for attacking women who make accusations against Bill Clinton. Everyone knew Harvey Weinstein. Like, that was the most public secret. Everyone knew Harvey Weinstein was a creep. Meanwhile, he was friends with Barack Obama. He was close to Barack Obama to the point where the Obamas allowed his daughters to intern under Harvey Weinstein. Now, so what's very hilarious about this? I mean, I got a lot of likes in a few hours, but Look, I haven't read through all of it, but look at that ratio. I mean, that's a lot of likes for 3 hours, but shit libs are in my mentions melting down because I had the audacity to point out that the Democratic Party, there's a culture where people like Andrew Cuomo feel like they're protected. Joe Biden can do all this stuff in the open. And then these are the people that just came on top of my head. There are a lot of people that also respond and giving more examples. But the people responding, it's just a ton of people responding. Oh, what about Trump? What about Republicans? What about the Republican Party? You're not calling out the Republican Party, but you want to call it Democrats. And as I mentioned here, believe it or not, guys, that is not the flex that you think it is. That is not the flex that you think it is. Because you're essentially admitting that your team, the Democrats, the Democratic Party, is the same as the Republicans. That's what it, and they think that's a flex. Like, well, yeah, you got a point. We got all these people that are sex pests and sex criminals on our side. But what about Trump? Oh, what about him? What about him? Are you making the point that your team is just like them? Is that the point that you think you are making right now? And they also say, "Oh, why are you calling out just the Democrats and you're not mentioning the Republicans? Why are you pretending just Democrat problems?" I did not say it was just a Democrat problem. I called out the Democrat problem. That's the difference. So they expect me, whenever I have a criticism of the Democratic Party, to be like, oh, well, I just want to let you guys know the Republicans do too. We all know the Republicans have a problem. I'm highlighting the Democrat problem so they can get through your thick skulls. Now, once again, I'm asking for intellectual consistency because the same people who are mad at me because they're like, oh, you called out the Democrat Party, but you're not calling out Republicans. You guys do the same thing. You see that? I'm doing the same thing that you guys are doing. So they will say stuff like, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a liar. She's an insane liar. The Republican Party is corrupt. So my response would be, why didn't you say that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Joe Biden's a liar? Why do you say Marjorie Taylor Greene and Nancy Pelosi's a liar? Why do you say Marjorie Taylor Greene and Joe Biden's corrupt? They don't do that because they were focused on the singular topic, which makes sense. So the people who was like, hey, why you ain't calling out Republicans too? I can flip that right back to you if we're being intellectually consistent. Me being intellectually consistent, I am okay with people focusing on the issue at hand, as long as they be intellectually consistent on that issue. But people are so caught up in the partisan games. People always trying to call me while I'm streaming. People are so caught up in the partisan games, they can't even focus on calling out the corruption and the crimes as they see it. It's that bad. They feel like they have to deflect. Oh, what about Republicans and Trump? You're not making an argument. Anyway, back to Me Too. So, actually, let me get some comments. Like, we get some comments running very fast. I do read them. I appreciate you guys for watching. Man, I do need to get back to some comments. Yeah, Squid said they can't understand two things can be bad at the same time. You realize they do the same exact thing that Trump and MAGA did that frustrated me. That this is what both the parties always do. When confronted with the harsh realities of what they are complicit with and the party they're supporting, they just deflect like, oh, well, what about the Republicans? What about them? You call out a Republican and mention how their politicians are corrupt. Oh, what about Democrats? And this is why liberals will never be able to convert conservatives and vice versa, because they always get stuck there. I talk to a lot of conservatives and I'll shift them left because I make legitimate concerns. I call out their daddy, Trump. I call out their leaders, and then they try to do the same thing they do to liberals all the time. Well, they say, oh, what about Obama? You guys like Obama? He deported kids. He put kids in cages. When they try that with me, I'm just like, what about Obama? Fuck him. Fuck Obama. Now, what about your boy, Donald Trump, who attacked Hillary Clinton for her ties to Goldman Sachs? And then when Trump took power, he literally hired a bunch of Goldman Sachs people. Donald Trump railed against Hillary Clinton because she was close with the Saudis and took a lot of Saudi money with the Hillary Clinton Foundation. So then he took office and took a lot of Saudi money that went to his territories, and then he started selling them arms deal and being complicit with the genocide. I'll bring that to Trumpers. They had nothing to say. And the people who are intellectually consistent, they will acknowledge what you're saying, and that's the seeds that is seed that's planted. But if you're a partisan, you get stuck there immediately. You get stuck. What about Obama? Oh, actually, Obama and then you got to actually explain why you support your corruption. And this is the genius of the two-party game, where you have the two partisan side who's very inefficient at flipping each other because they're all hypocrites. Liberals on Twitter right now are begging the poor people who had endured a plague to donate to Obama's mansion for his birthday. Yeah, I actually seen the tweet. Like, someone is being ratioed to death. I don't even remember her name. But liberals about to have a good time celebrating Barack Obama's 60th birthday in his mansion. Why don't people ever think about this? Like, the president, how much the president make? $400,000 a year? Am I overestimating that? I want to see how much U.S. president's salary. Yeah, $400,000. So the president makes $400,000 a year. So Obama was president for 8 years. So let's be very generous and let's round up to 3.5 million. So during his time in president, he made about $3.5 million. His time as a senator, he probably made, once again, I'll just keep it simple, another million or so. How is he able to afford a mansion in Martha's Vineyard without massive corruption? The Democratic Party is okay with the corruption. They're like, oh, well, you expect him not to work after he leaves office? So you got Barack Obama, who bailed out Wall Street, who was president under a massive transfer of wealth from the ruling class, from the elite, that came mostly from the Black community and other disenfranchised communities. So he took care of Wall Street, he took care of the military-industrial complex, he took care of the prison-industrial complex, and then once he got out of office, he started getting speeches and making hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s based on only off of like an hour of labor. And people don't see, liberals really don't see the corruption there. They don't see the scratch my back and I'll scratch yours there. Liberals see Nancy Pelosi make tens of millions of dollars while in public service because of insider trading. And it never connects to them that, hey, this is corruption. They think, oh man, Nancy Pelosi, she must be really good at the stock game. She must be really lucky. The partisan mind does not make any sense. I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to get to all the comments. A lot here. I definitely read the super chats, that's for sure. I want to talk about Nina too. We can discuss Nina. That'll probably be the second topic today. Do you have the link to that tweet? I'm talking to Squid, because she's the one that highlighted that. Do you have a link to the tweet so I can show it? Because I know what tweet you're talking about, but I will have to dig it. If you can link that, that'd be great. This comment is interesting. I'm trying to get as many comments as I can. We got but a lot of comments coming in. Leave a super chat. Guaranteed me to read it. Most of my family are right-winger Republican voters, but the more I talk to them, the more I'm helping them become class conscious to one day stop doing that BS. I feel bad with people who have right-wing family because I got a track record of flipping right-wingers, but it's not people I had to deal with often. I can only imagine how tough that is because I drop, like, to be honest, like, people just see me as this bomb thrower on Twitter, but when I talk to people, I just try to walk people through their intellectual inconsistencies. So when I talk to conservatives, I'm like, you realize that I outflank you on your own issues, right? The same issues that you claim to be supportive of. You say you claim to support small government. You claim to support fiscal responsibility. You claim to support family values. And I am telling you That as a socialist, I outflank you on all those issues. So once again, you can say you are for small government, but you are for giant police and military budgets. That doesn't make sense. Especially when those giant police and military budgets don't justify themselves in terms of getting results done. We spend trillions and trillions of dollars in the Middle East, in Iraq and Afghanistan with no successful mission accomplished. The only thing we did was destabilize the Middle East, and we grew ISIS and multiple terrorist cells. So our giant offensive war budget doesn't justify itself. Well, it actually does justify itself for the weapon contractors and politicians that actually benefit from endless war in the military-industrial complex. But in terms of how it actually benefits society, it's non-existent. The prison-industrial complex. Once again, these things don't justify itself. We incarcerate 25% of the world's prison population. Meanwhile, you as a conservative claim America is free. Like, once again, these are the inconsistencies that I highlight to conservatives to get so they can understand that I'm actually coming at this with the right point of view. Even if I would accept your conservative framing. You guys say you're for fiscal responsibility, but you guys spend all this money on the police force when they don't actually reduce crime. How is that fiscally responsible? You know what's fiscally responsible? Actually having Medicare for all. Once you have Medicare for all, you actually will save money on healthcare. It actually boosts wages. It actually boosts the economy. And we save $68,000 per year. Canceling student loan debt actually will benefit the economy because that will free up the buyers who are just now getting out of college, just now getting to their careers. You know, they're like the 25 to 50-year-old gap who are the most reliable spenders. How does it make sense to burden them with debt? So that's why studies show that you actually boost the economy if you cancel student loan debt. And so on and so on. I explained to him, how can you be for family values if you want to let your family member die because they can't afford health care? How can you say you for family values, but if you're not for a 40-hour work week, which I actually advocate for a 4-day work week. But once again, as a leftist, we advocate for these labor laws. Frito-Lay out here, right in Kansas, where we at. People are working literally 7 days a week for 3 months straight, no days off. That's class war. You got to view everything in politics under the guise of the class war. That's class war because our ancestors fought for labor rights and time off, and that's being peeled back. It's being rolled back by the state. All right, so let's get to the press conference. I see. I'm getting a little bit off topic here. Let's see if I can find the Cuomo press conference. I don't want to play the whole thing. I watched it while it was live. So here's the 90-second clip from Cuomo's press conference. Let me silence that. Also, I want to cover this because this is breaking, actually. Biden actually plans on expanding the federal moratorium on evictions. Damn, I want to cover that too. So I think that'd be the next story. Next story would be about the evictions. But I want to play this video since we're talking about Cuomo. Because he came out with a response video. Andrew Cuomo did that is. And it was about as horrific as you would expect. So let's check this out. This is only 90 seconds. It's gonna be hard to watch, but let's just so we can get some context of what Cuomo says his defense was.
The New York Times published a front page picture of me touching a woman's face at a wedding and then kissing her on the cheek. That is not front page news. I've been making the same gesture in public all my life. I actually learned it from my mother and from my father. It is meant to convey warmth, nothing more. Indeed, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of photos of me using the exact same gesture. I do it with everyone, black and white, young and old, straight and LGBTQ, powerful people, friends, strangers, people who I meet on the street. After the event, the woman told the press that she took offense at the gesture. And for that, I apologize. Another woman stated that I kissed her on the forehead at our Christmas party and that I said, "Ciao, Bella."
So there's no way we're gonna watch that whole thing. But that's a good clip to kind of show what his defense was. He's not resigning, so this is gonna get pretty ugly. We have increased calls for Andrew Cuomo to resign. But his argument pretty much was the same argument that Joe Biden used. Oh, yeah, I'm a creepy, rich, white dude. But come on, get over it. And you notice during the whole time, and I watched the entire video, he pretty much doesn't even acknowledge the worst of his allegations. All of these allegations are horrible. But people highlighted how he made real aggressive sexual advances, including groping women's breasts, putting his hand under their skirt, the shirt, and then groping their breasts. Is that a way to show warmth? Right? Andrew Cuomo pretty much sounds exactly like Trump in his excuse video. The same excuses they made, like, oh yeah, I just want to touch people and show them how much I like them. How does this excuse work for rich white people? I promise you, like, black officials will not be able to get away with this stuff. All right, we got a super chat. Let me get to the super chat here. For Andrew. Loving how much FHO is growing. By the way, what are your thoughts on the People's Party still a losing electoral gamble or more worthwhile than Justice Democrats? My position, 100% more worthwhile than Justice Democrats. The Justice Democrats, they openly are hostile towards our movement. And their defenders are okay with it. The people that defend the squad. When we have legitimate concerns, well, we're like, hey, we are marching for Medicare for all. We have an idea where we can force a floor vote on Medicare for all. We was warning them about the moratorium expiring, but once again, there's no connection with the outside roots with the Justice Democrats. Their message to the left and for poor people that are struggling right now is shut up and trust the plan. Shut up and trust the plan. Your guys' plan, we're not going to listen to. We're not going to support any of your protests. We're not going to support any general strike. In fact, we're not going to talk about foreign policy. We're going to stop talking about ICE. The Justice Democrats are more like just us Democrats. They're Democrats first, activists second. So the People Party have some growth to do. They still can improve. But we need as much outside pressure as possible to not only move the Overton window to the left, but to support grassroots leftist movements and ideas and to promote things like mutual aid. So when I was at the Medicare for All rally in March, I saw there was a lot of people that was from the KC Green Party and there was a lot of people from the Kansas City People's Party there. And I remember early on, I had concerns about whether, okay, we have the Green Party, we have the People's Party. I don't want there to be like this battle of egos. And I already kind of see it where it's more about what party can grow the most and who have the most clout on the left. But when I was at Kansas City, there was none of that ego. Well, I actually saw Kansas City People's Party people, the Kansas City Green Party people, where we was actually coming together and brainstorming how to improve people's lives. That was the message that we wanted to get out. So I can 100% see the valid strategy of having the Green Party, which I am more supportive of because the Green Party has a socialist approach, a hardcore anti-capitalist solution to our problems, where the People Party, they like straight up admit that their whole thing is not having a socialist approach. Now, once again, I'm more for the Green Party for this. The Green Party is like strongly for reparations. So the Green Party is positioning themselves as more of the pro-black party, challenging the police state, reparations, slashing the military budget by half, and the People Party got a lot of great policies as well. But the People Party have been dodgy on reparations. They admit that they are not attacking these problems with a socialist point of view, and that's where the split is. But there are still valid strategies that we can utilize, having two strong left parties, where we can promote things like Occupy Congress. We can raise money for families that need to feed their kids, for food banks, and rally to prevent the eviction crisis. Right? So the People Party, just like the Green Party, and any left-wing movement can always improve. But it doesn't make sense to me as anyone on the left that would straight up cancel the People Party, have no interest for the People Party or the Green Party for that matter, because we are in such a dire position right now. We need as many outside forces in the organization in harmony with each other to attack and challenge the Democrats. And like Andrew said here, Hawkins was a little bit suspect, but still the Green Party had a super solid platform regardless. 100%. I thought we were supposed to be the policy-based voters. We're supposed to be policy-based. And Holly Hawkins is not charismatic. But Holly Hawkins, the reason why he got his clout was because he was on the original committee that wrote the Green New Deal. Then AOC and the squad stole that and water it down into a more imperialist, friendly version of the Green New Deal. It doesn't even call for slashing military budgets when the military is the largest polluter in human history. So Holly Hawkins is not a good politician, but he actually put in work in terms of advancing leftist ideals. And once again, I had issue with Holly Hawkins because he had some things where he was even propping up Russiagate a little bit. Not at a extent, not that much, because he walked it back eventually. My point was he was an imperfect candidate, but we are supposed to be voting for people based on policy. That's what's supposed to matter. I thought that's what this movement was about. Apparently not. Apparently not. Apparently not. So back to Cuomo. Like I love to get to these chats, but I always go on to tangents. But I'm glad that people are calling for Andrew Cuomo to resign now. But there's always should have been calls for him to resign, because this is what he was complicit for. This is what should have got A1 turned against him. Because Cuomo even admitted that they fudged nursing home deaths for political purposes. People died because of Cuomo incompetence and corruption. In January, New York's Attorney General said the administration has undercounted nursing home deaths by several thousand. Cuomo later acknowledged as much, blaming the lower figure on fears that Trump administration will use the data as a political weapon. So there, Andrew Cuomo admits that, yeah, we lied about the nursing home thing because we didn't want to we didn't want to concede anything to Trump. They didn't want to concede anything to Donald Trump. So they lied about the nursing home numbers. They fudged it. How is that not as bad as anything Trump has done? That's my question to people. That people had the Trump derangement syndrome. Because Trump derangement syndrome is the idea that these politicians are somehow better than Trump. Because that's a takeaway from having Trump derangement syndrome. We got to vote for anyone. We got to support any party to get rid of Trump. How is that any different than Trump? I said it in my Medicare for All speech. I tell this people all the time. People say that Trump is a serial liar. But how is the lie that Joe Biden and the Democrats say, where they say we can't afford health care? How is that lie any different from the lies that Trump tells? When they say we can't afford to house homeless people, even though we increased the military budget by enough to end homelessness. It's like, The lie to me is just as significant. Anything else on Cuomo? I've been running on Cuomo for a while. I want to get to the evictions too. We got Bill Clinton trending. Now people are calling out Democrats because now like everyone's melting down about Cuomo because now even the liberals are like, all right, we gotta get rid of Cuomo, but they're getting rid of Cuomo not because they are against it morally what he did. They are willing to get rid of Cuomo because he's a political liability. So Nancy Pelosi officially called for Cuomo to resign. That's breaking. Let's see here. Let's say there's all these organizations, all these people calling him out to resign. I don't understand why they had to wait this long for that to happen. Let's see. I want to see if there's anything else work. Okay, so President Biden officially calls Andrew Cuomo to resign. Very, very interesting. So I'm very interested because I'm just very interested to see how this is going to go down. Because Cuomo, if he's smart, because he has been smart, he got people to ignore this for a very long time until the independent probe just came out with their findings. He just doesn't just stay quiet and not resign. Would that work? The Democrats are more than willing to allow that to work. But after the independent probe, it's harder, right? So yeah, President Biden, that said he should resign. Pelosi, that said he should resign. You have all the women organizations. Chuck Schumer just called on Cuomo to resign. Wow. How is President Biden gonna try to call Cuomo to resign for doing the same shit that he did? Hold up, I gotta let people know. How is Joe Biden going to call for Andrew Cuomo to resign for doing the same shit that he did? You guys know what I'm talking about? This is why Tara Reid's been trending, by the way, because people are calling out the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party. Now, liberals are not handling leftists calling them out well because, like, when you see MAGA talking about Tara Reid, yeah, they're idiots. They're just using that to be, they just want to take advantage, right? I just want to remind people that Tara Reid has never been debunked. I'll cover this and I'll get to some comments. Because this is what I accurately point out. And I always like posting this whenever Tara is trending to let people know. Because the reality of the situation is, unfortunately, you don't have a lot of sexual assault victims with this much corroboration. But to be clear, if you have been sexually assaulted, just because you don't have a ton of corroboration does not mean it didn't happen. And that's what liberals want you to believe. Liberals are saying, hey, where's the proof that Tara did? Tara is a filthy liar. They want you to believe that women who accuse powerful white men have bad intentions. That is not the case. Just because you do not have evidence that you was raped does not mean that it didn't happen, to be 100% clear. That's why it's so amazing that despite the fact that Tara has this much corroboration, she is still attacked by the cult shitlib army. So this thing shows Tara Reid has told multiple people to varying degrees about the sexual harassment she experienced. So one thing that experts tell people is when someone is sexually assaulted or harassed, a great tell, and once again, not all victims do this, but a great tell to show that they are telling the truth is the fact that they immediately tell people afterwards. Immediately. So there was not like calculation that they're going to use this later. Like, not like she told her mom about this, like as Joe Biden would continue to rise to prominence and become president. She told her this when it happened. She told her brother and she told her mother, which makes sense because she would tell people that are mostly close to them. But to me, this is probably the biggest one. Like, when have you ever seen? Will you ever see any sexual assault victim have this amount of evidence? Tara Reid's mother called in Larry King Live to discuss her daughter's problem with a prominent senator. Liberals never talk about that one. What? So the long con it would take for her to make this up just so she can help Trump win. That's the liberal conspiracy theory. Or the long con that she had where she want to be a grifter, where she comes out 15 to like years and years, like over a decade later. Like that doesn't make sense. Like, did they know in 1993 when Tara Reid's mother made that call? Did they know that Joe Biden was going to be the presidential nominee in 2020? Former interns told reporters that Tara Reid was abruptly resigned, confirming her account. So there were people that literally was confirming exactly what Tara Reid was saying. Tara Reid told a friend about the sexual assault a few days later. And then that friend has gone on record in multiple interviews on the condition and anonymity. So whenever you see the Biden fans and the Biden shit libs claim that Tara Reid has been debunked, that is not true. Simply not true. So let's see. I want to see what comments we missed, and I want to dive into Biden extending the eviction moratorium because I saw that flowing around. It's breaking. So let's see if we get some more details about that. Oh man. See, this came out 31 minutes ago from the Associated Press. Breaking, the Biden administration will announce a new 60-day moratorium on evictions amid a surge in the cases of COVID-19. Wait. That is not the problem here. Hold up. Let me share the screen so you guys can see what I just read. Because you guys are getting my live reaction to this. But I already see massive problems in this. And I better not see anyone praising the Democrats in this. But so this is what I just read. They came up with Associated Press while we was live. So you guys get my live reaction to that. We breaking this down together. You see what it says? It said the Biden administration will announce a new 60-day moratorium on evictions amid a surge in cases of COVID-19. You guys see the problem there? COVID-19 is not the problem here. It is a problem, but it's not the problem. The problem is kicking millions of people out of their homes is deeply immoral. You guys see that? Do you guys see the shit lib mindset? Their reaction to millions of people going homeless wasn't, oh, this is morally unacceptable. We can't have this in our society. In a serious society, we can't have people going homeless when we are the richest country in the world, period. Well, we literally increased the military budget enough to house these people. That's what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden increased the military budget by the amount it would take to end homelessness. But what liberals are saying is that, yeah, we're going to end the moratorium on evictions, but we are doing that because of COVID. So if COVID was under control and we didn't have the Delta variant that was increasing the cases, will you guys allow these people to go homeless? I just want to make sure you guys see the moral dilemma that I see here. And another thing is we can't keep extending the eviction moratorium. So they extend it 60 days. What's going to happen in 60 days? We're going to be right back where we are at. So at what point do the liberal establishment and Washington groups come to the conclusion that leftists have made years ago? That there should not be a homelessness crisis in America, period. You guys know what liberals are doing instead? Instead of properly addressing the homelessness crisis, they are investing in anti-homeless architecture instead. I shared this before. San Francisco might spend $20,000 per trash can to block garbage scavengers. This is on top of the anti-homelessness infrastructure that they pay for. This is on top of the police presence that come out of taxpayer money to enforce the anti-homelessness laws. So instead of spending that $20,000 per trash can on feeding people and housing people, they spend it to block people from feeding themselves using the food that our restaurants throw away. We throw away a ton of food every year because there are a lot of restaurants that have a lot of extra food. I'm showing you guys the efficiency of capitalism, the quote unquote efficiency of capitalism. So instead of feeding people with food, whenever restaurants got a ton of food left over, they just throw it away. And then there are already laws on the book in Democrat cities and Democrat states where you can't feed homeless people your leftover food. So not only can these people are not, it's against the law to feed homeless people your leftover food, you throw that food away. Now it's illegal for the homeless people to even dig into the trash can to eat that food. Don't you guys see the depravity of the liberal mind here? Now back to the eviction ban that Biden promoting. Let's go back to the article here. So once again, I already don't like the fact that they use that as an excuse, but there's literally no reason for the homelessness crisis to even exist. Especially when you guys are willing to bail out Wall Street to the tunes of trillions of dollars. You guys can do that. You guys can expand the military budget. You guys can expand the ICE budget and continue to fund the police more. But we can't fix the homelessness crisis. It's crazy. It will only cost like $40 billion to end homelessness, right? I'm just diving for some details. I don't feel the need to read this entire thing. And this is another thing I saw. The eviction moratorium will protect 90% of the population. So they're saying that 90% of the population will be covered under the new eviction moratorium. Why not 100? And this is what Jordan from Status Quo, this is what he was highlighting on his show. They highlighted how even under the federal moratorium against evictions, you have people already being evicted. There were giant loopholes that landlords and other capitalists were taking advantage of, where people were still being kicked out of their homes despite the moratorium. And now, even with this new moratorium, they're like, oh yeah, about 10% of people we're still gonna kick out of their homes. How's that acceptable? So the new policy came amid a scramble. I see this part. This part pretty funny. The new policy came amid a scramble of actions by the Biden team to reassure Democrats in the country they will find a way to halt potential eviction. No, you're not, because people are still going to be evicted. Like, people will still be evicted under the federal eviction moratorium. Once again, like Status Quo called it out. Here, I'm gonna see what the comments that I missed. Once again, this story is breaking while we live, so this is like the live reaction to it. That's a great point, Frank. Who's the 10% not protected? The most poor. It's gonna be the most poor. It's gonna be the most black. I promise you. Nick? Why you always talking about black issues? Why you always talking about black people? Bro, black people are 40% of the homelessness population, despite us only being 13% of the population. So when you talk about the homelessness issue, when you talk about the issue of capitalism, you are talking about black issues. like Fred Hampton said, we're not going to have black capitalism saving us. I love this comment regarding the trash can story that I just shared. $100 for the trash can, $19,000 for the relative that got the contract to make it. That's a brilliant comment. That is neoliberalism summed up in a nutshell. My friend, Sabrina Sabs, and she highlights this. I learned this from talking to people who work in the service industry. Well, people are like, bro, it's unbelievable how much food we just throw away. Imagine if there was some sort of program where we can get that food and feed people across all the restaurants. It's crazy. Capitalism is inefficient. They always say capitalism is the most efficient. Is it? Throwing away food instead of actually feeding people. That does not make sense. Yeah, I think I might be underestimating. Not even 10% of our military budget will end homelessness. I think the number is 40 billion, right? I want to make sure I get it right. I'm going to Google it. And I think 40 billion. 20 billion. I was off. It will only cost $20 billion to end homelessness. That's like 3 times more than how much we increased the military budget. We are in a deeply immoral country. So, other than that, there's not much details because once again, this story was just breaking. But that's my initial take on the Biden and stand the federal moratorium. I want people to acknowledge that there's still going to be people that are evicted. The Biden's moratorium, they even acknowledge that it only designed to protect 90% of renters. So since they say it's going to protect 90% of renters, I promise you it's going to protect even less than that. As a heads up, by the way. So that's how I always want to cover these issues. I always want to cover these issues because under the guise of the class war, because that's what this is about. Joe Biden had his campaign contributors, his top advisors are all landlords. BlackRock was a giant donor to Vice President Kamala Harris. That's why they was willing to let the eviction moratorium expire, and it only took a massive amount of pressure to get them just to extend it for another 60 days. So 60 days later, when we get right back to the same issue, it's going to be very revealing. And now that we had Cori Bush, now that we had the squad out there, where my criticism of them was, you guys knew this was coming. I hope you guys don't have amnesia about this issue for the next 8 weeks. I'm glad that we have pressure and we put pressure on these people to make them extend the moratorium, but we can't have any of this last second stuff anymore. Like, the focus on these next 60 days should be preventing the homelessness crisis, right? Interesting comment by Chris. He said, we tear up and throw away tons of unpurchased clothing and throw them in landfills. Damn. Capitalism it's a completely failed system, completely inefficient system, and there's no moral justification for it. Let's see if we can get some more details. Yellen told Democrats on a private call to ensure that some $47 billion in federal housing aid approved during the COVID crisis makes renters and landlords. So even now with this moratorium, I want to show you this because I'm just digging through this article because I didn't get a chance to analyze it before we went live. We are learning about this together. Look at this. So they're looking for $47 billion in federal housing aid to renters and landlords. The landlords and renters who donate to Biden campaign, they were going to get aid. What about the people that went homeless? What about the people who are getting kicked out of their homes? And we just covered how $20 billion will end homelessness. I think that's $20 billion a year, right? So that's that's $20 billion a year. I just wanted to check that. So we're going to spend $47 billion to give money to renters and landlords instead of just ending the homelessness crisis. Don't you guys see how stupid capitalism is? Like, how does that make sense? Like, even if you don't believe in socialism, like if you're organizing a society, how does that make sense? You guys are getting $47 billion to the fucking renters and landlords, these parasites, but you're not going to spend half of that money to end homelessness as a whole? You guys know what I'm talking about? Do you guys see that? Jesus fuck. I'm trying to see if there's any other tidbits on this article worth mentioning. So this is pretty smart. So now the establishment is going to give Cory Bush and the progressive lawmakers a ton of credit for camping outside. Give the illusion that they're fighting for you, even though people are still getting kicked out of their homes, huh? The administration resisted another extension because the Supreme Court appears likely to block it when the court allowed the eviction ban to remain in place through the end of July. They pretty much getting background. I don't think there's anything else worth covering in this article. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the prospect of widespread evictions unfathomable. Bro, we already been going through that. So Nancy Pelosi is making like she has a moral objection to the homelessness crisis. Like, you see that? I always love reading this article for these tidbits. Nancy Pelosi called the prospect of widespread evictions unfathomable. Always struggle to say that. But you had no problem with all the people going homeless beforehand. There's already massive homelessness crisis that started because of COVID. There were people being evicted because the federal moratorium had loopholes in them. These people have no shame, man. I think I got pretty much everything out of this article, though. And once again, I reject this neoliberal talking point, man. This neoliberal talking point right here. Mass evictions can potentially worsen the spread of COVID-19. That is not the problem. What do you guys think? Am I off on that? Like, that is not what this problem is about. The problem is people should not be kicked out of their homes because the capitalism is a failed system that crashes every 5 to 8 years and can't handle a pandemic. That's the problem. All right. Yeah. So another thing I'm thinking about. So Biden extended the federal moratorium on evictions. Doesn't that prove that he could have done something this entire time? So what does that mean? That means Joe Biden was like beta testing whether he can get away with allowing the eviction moratorium to expire. Because once again, the Democrats, just like Republicans, is a party propped up by landlords. BlackRock, big donor to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. The top advisors in Biden administration are landlords. So he tried to get away with this. The Democratic Party tried to kick people out of their homes. And then after massive public backlash, they backed off. I think that's another very important takeaway from this. That Biden and his team knew they could do something about it, but they wanted to see if they can get away with taking care of their landlord donors. Wow. So yeah, it's good. We should give props for anyone to put pressure on them for this. But there's not the solution because it's only 60 days. And as a leftist, I see what you're saying, Gary. It says the AP article says Biden will extend moratorium. Does not say Biden has extended. So we just got to keep pressure on it because I see massive reporting all over Twitter. A1 confirming this. But that's a good point. I do accept your point. We shouldn't just accept it just because he say he's going to do it. I 100% agree with that. According to Sam Cedar and friends, Joe Biden tried his best. See, that's my problem with these people. These people that are Democratic Party operatives, they always give these people the benefit of the doubt. Like, what benefit do we get as a left-wing movement giving Joe Biden the benefit of the doubt? It doesn't make any sense. We need to tell people that these people are corrupt. That's how you drive people to the left. People pretending that, these politicians, they mean well, that doesn't benefit us. Us pretending that politicians mean well, how does that benefit us in the movement? It doesn't. I just explained to everyone that Joe Biden beta test allowing people to go homeless and see if he can get away with it politically. That's what he was trying to do. Then he realized he couldn't get away with allowing people to go homeless politically. That's why they're walking back, and they are using the power that they always had. So I don't buy it. I never buy their excuses. I want to make sure we I think we covered a lot of stuff here. At this point, I'm trying to get all the details because this live was kind of like really me just reacting to a lot of stuff because I did my Cuomo segment. I had something else saved here, but the Biden lifting the eviction moratorium, that's the big one. That's the big one. So let you know to highlight what I'm talking about with Sam Cedar and TYT. You see how they always give the ruling class benefit of the doubt. Why the fuck do they do that? So that's why the left has been bitten the ass now, because we were like, okay, we gotta give Biden the benefit of the doubt. We give Biden the benefit of the doubt, he will move left. There is no benefit that we get giving politicians the benefit of the doubt. Majority Report, TYT, and these other reporters, or pundits, I should call them, they benefit from giving politicians the benefit of the doubt because that allows them to get access later. So if they don't attack these people's character, they can call them out, but they're like, oh, well, Biden means well. Andrew Cuomo means well. So it allows them to criticize while maintaining access. Us, I don't care about access. For Hampton leftists do our politics, we will never have access anyway. So I'm willing to call it out as I see it. And my willingness to call things out as I see it and not give the ruling class benefit of the doubt, that's how I was able to predict the fact that Joe Biden will back away from all his campaign promises. Because people like Emma Vigeland, people like Sam Cedar, the TYT people, they were promising people that Biden would shift to the left because we show him goodwill. Why would he do that? That's something that someone who is a good intended actor would do. But there's no reason for Biden to ever act in good faith with us. And that's what the picture they were trying to paint. You guys don't believe me when I call out the naivete? You guys want to see what Emma Vigeland had to say on Andrew Cuomo? This is what happened when you give people benefit of the doubt. And by the way, this was after the nursing home debacle was exposed. Afterwards. And this is what Emma said. Emma said, there's no denying it. Andrew Cuomo has done a very good job, especially rhetorically. Who gives a fuck about rhetoric? Like, why would you even highlight that? Can someone explain to me? Why would you even highlight rhetorically? As a leftist, the rhetoric means literally nothing. And that's what we were saying. Like, there were people that were falling for Andrew Cuomo because he had good rhetoric, which I would question that. I would even question that. But rhetoric doesn't mean anything when he's allowing homeless people to die, when he was willing to cut Medicaid in the middle of a pandemic. What? This is the analysis you're getting at the Majority Report, by the way. The way he's communicating is informative and politically sound. What benefit do the left movement get out of her saying this? Like this take is funny to look at because it's been one of the most horrifically aged takes I've seen last year. But even if she wasn't 100% wrong, where do we benefit as a left-wing movement for Emma giving him this much benefit of the doubt? And then she said he demolished Trump as a nominee if DNC leadership is willing to do the gutsy thing. Emma has since deleted this tweet. This is the analysis that you get from the majority report. You see how much benefit out she gave to politicians? They wanted Andrew Cuomo to be the Democratic Party nominee. Sabi, Emma's parents fund the DNC. Jamie Dore recently went off on Emma and exposed how she had corporate lawyer family. And then you had a bunch of TYT sycophants and social democrats who was like, oh, why is Jimmy Dore attacking Emma's family and saying that she comes from money. Jimmy Dore is rich. Jimmy Dore comes from money. I mean, Jimmy Dore has money. Why is it relevant that Jimmy Dore is even bringing up Emma Vigil's wealth? The fact that they didn't even understand Jimmy Dore's point, I think that says a lot. It says a lot because what Jimmy did is a class analysis, the same way I did a class analysis. So yes, Jimmy has a lot of money, but Jimmy is at the healthcare rally standing with people who do not have healthcare. Emma comes from money. She don't understand what struggles means, and she is shitting on healthcare activists. She is propping up Elizabeth Warren, who shit on Bernie Sanders supporters. Emma Vigil and Sam Cedar are class loyal. They're class loyal. That's the point that Jimmy was making. Jimmy Dore was making the point that Emma had wealthy family, wealthy parents. That's why she's fighting against your fight to fight for healthcare. If you're not analyzing everything under the guise of the class war, you are missing a giant piece of the puzzle. And this is what I've been highlighting. You had the privileged Western left. These are the people who are taken care of. These are the people who are more likely to tell you to believe in the Justice Democrats, believe in the plan, because they got nothing to lose. They can wait. They can play the long game. And this is why they despise Jimmy Dore. Even though Jimmy Dore has a lot of money, he's willing to call out these politicians and stand with the workers. They don't like his vulgarity because once again, they come from elite classes where you had to be polite. You got to make sure you're civil. Civility is a tool of the ruling class. That's why they really hate Dore, by the way, because he throws out the window. And this is the point that Max Blumenthal was making when he called out Adam Schiff at the Capitol yesterday. We talked about it on my show. I got a video that we just posted on FHL. Check that out. Max called out Adam Schiff for pretending to care about the homelessness population. We shouldn't be giving these people any credit because Adam Schiff literally is for funding Israel more. Adam Schiff is for expanding the military budget. I explained earlier that if you take the money that we use to spend the military budget, we can house homeless people. So Max Blumenthal showed up at the Capitol and called Adam Schiff out to his face, where he was trying to pretend he was cool with Jesse Jackson. And Max was like, "Bro, you are for every single war that the United States is currently engaging with, and Jesse Jackson is anti-war." The point I am making that you had some Karens, you had some activists that was there who they got upset at Max because he was being mean to Adam Schiff. You see that? They was upset because Max was mean to Adam Schiff. You see how civility is a tool of the ruling class? Even though Adam Schiff is responsible for untold crimes against humanity, we were supposed to be nice to him. That's the idea that people like Emma Vigil and Sam Cedar promotes. So the class analysis done, like Sabby pointed out, and like Jimmy pointed out, what I point out all the time, is very valid. And like Squid pointed out, the same thing with Voss. Voss is one, he don't want to support these healthcare protests. He's not willing to support these direct actions because we need stuff now. Because he's comfortable. He wanted to all right, we gotta trust AOC, we gotta trust the squad, we gotta just elect more progressives. Damn, we didn't talk about Nina Turner yet. Damn, fuck, this is a long stream. I only meant to go an hour today. It's all right. Let's talk about Nina Turner. The Cuomo takedown is being coordinated on behalf of the Kamala faction to snatch any 2024 press ideas out of Cuomo's head. That is spicy, Bernard. Thank you for super chat. That is a spicy theory because I love theorizing. I use common deductions, historical references, and make deductions on things. And I easily can see someone coming to the conclusion, like the Kamala faction, all right, we got to take down Cuomo, so we have no primary challengers. So I love this theory. I don't know if I 100% agree with it, though. I'll tell you why. Because I don't think the Kamala faction has control of the Democratic controlled media. You know what I mean? So I see Biden and his team. I see a lot of Democratic Party operatives that are trying to take Kamala Harris out. That's why this story is running about how Kamala is the most historically unpopular vice president in modern American history. That story is being ran because there are people that got permission to take Kamala Harris out. The Biden team is leaking against Kamala Harris. So the only reason I disagree with this theory is because I don't see the giant coordinated effort to get Kamala ahead. I see them trying to take Kamala out because they see her as a liability because she is so weak politically. If Kamala's numbers were through the roof, I can see that. What do you guys thought? Do you guys agree with Bernard or disagree with them? I love this theory. I can see why you come to that conclusion. And I love theories like these, but I wouldn't say it's because of the Kamala faction. I think it's just because the Democrats realize just how big of a massive liability that Andrew Cuomo is. It had nothing to do with morality, but you guys already know that, right? John said, I don't trust Jimmy Dore one bit. All he has accomplished is turning leftists on each other. If you don't like Jimmy Dore, that's 100% fine. I'm not here to convert anyone to Jimmy Dore fans. My only response is, did he turn leftists against each other? Did he really do that? Because I have a different take. I believe we thought our movement was way bigger than it was because Bernie Sanders ran a massive campaign, got around 1/3 of the votes, right? So we have this giant movement we never seen in politics. But sorry, I honestly believe, especially now that I've seen the post Bernie Sanders left, who are willing to fall in line with the Democratic Party and not stand on serious issues like Julian Assange, like calling out United States imperialism. Now that I see this weakness on the left, what I would say is I don't think our movement was as big as we thought. We had a lot of people who are more liberal-minded who wanted health care and who wanted increased wages. Or, once again, Bernie's a good politician. Maybe they like Bernie Sanders and what he was saying. But a lot of these people, they are not on our side. And this is why I disagree with you, John. I appreciate the comment. This is why I just disagree. And I think what Jimmy is doing is calling that out. And the people who get upset at Jimmy, because these are the people who get mad because he calls out politicians. He calls out Bernie Sanders. He called LC. He called out the squad. So the people who are loyal to the Democrats, people who are loyal to Bernie Sanders, LC, and the squad, they take offense for him doing that. But Jimmy Dore is not tearing the left up because of policy ideas. That's the social Democrats that are doing that. The social Democrats and the squad supporters, they are the one dividing the left because they're not standing for Julian Assange. They are complicit with funding the police more. They're not talking about the Syria bombings. These are the things they was complicit, like Jimmy will argue, they were complicit for voting for the HEROES Act, the largest transfer of wealth in human history. So, like my friend Finney, fellow Fred Hampton leftist, what she would say is we don't agree. We simply do not agree. So there's a lot of people on the left who we don't agree. Like, so people get mad at me when I criticize the squad, but I tell people the squad was complicit with funding the police more. They coordinated their votes to fund the police more because it's January 6th. If you are for that, I do not agree with you. If you are for the national security state expanding and censoring people, and if you're for the constellation of power by big tech, and you think they should just ban people because they say stuff you disagree with, we do not agree. If you believe that we should vote for Nancy Pelosi instead of starting a robust conversation on healthcare, we do not agree. If you believe that we should abandon activists and don't support Medicare for all marches because you see these people as unruly and are unworthy of being supported, we do not agree. So is Jimmy turning up the left, or are we just highlighting these differences that we didn't know exist while Bernie ran? That's the question I want to pose to you guys. Thank you for the comment, John. But I just personally disagree with that. Yeah, I have Max. Like Jimmy had a lot of different activists. He gave us a platform. Well, he came on our show, which obviously boosted us giant. Like when you look at TYT, when you look at the Majority Report, when you look at David Pakman, when you look at Kyle Kalinske, when you look at all these giant YouTube hosts, how many of these giant white YouTubers are taking their time to go on other independent news shows to help them out and help them grow? How many of these big YouTubers are coming on Hampton Leftists, are coming on Sabrina Sapp's show? They are supporting people of color, black leftists. They're not doing that. Jimmy is. That's all I gotta say. I personally don't get Jimmy Dore derangement syndrome. Jimmy was one of the people that I watch occasionally. Like I started watching him more just because I saw how much people dislike him. Kind of like, all right, maybe I'm missing something. But now I honestly think the Jimmy Dore derangement syndrome is coordinated because he's calling out the Justice Democrats. He's advocating for growing the People's Party. So there's a coordinated effort from the people who are they are sympathetic to the idea of taking over the Democrat Party. They have to discredit Jimmy Dore, and they had to attack him because he got a giant audience and he's making good points. That's the reason. There's no, like, I seen people call Jimmy Dore a right winger. On what basis? I seen a video from Vox where he was like, Jimmy Dore is a right winger, and there was no policy analysis there. In his whole video where he was calling Jimmy Dore a right winger, there was literally no policy analysis. He was just saying, hey, yo, he props up attack on Justice Democrats and LC. He's willing to go on Fox News. The same thing that Bernie Sanders did, by the way. That's why they call him a right winger. I don't like that. I'm policy based. Man, it's y'all fault. Y'all be making me talk about Jimmy Dore because you guys already mentioned him. Yeah, no need to get mad at John. I'm not opposed to different thought processes on here. Let's see. I'm just looking for some more comments, guys. He using his platform. Yeah, that's what I see. I don't want to like turn into like a Jimmy Dore forum, but yeah, that's like, to me, I don't understand people who don't like Jimmy Dore because Jimmy Dore covers foreign policy. He covers the national security state. He covers state violence. And when I was covering defund the police, he was one of the few big content creators that was covering the police violence. So, like, if you look at the substance of what he covers, I don't know why people get mad at it. The only people who get mad at him are the people who they like the squad. They like Bernie, and they can't handle him criticizing his favorite politicians. Right? So I think I got through most of the chats. Any other questions I missed? I think it was a pretty productive stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna be, because I'm putting in work this week, guys. You guys are gonna get a lot of Nick on Fred and Left this week. If you haven't, check out the interview I had with Max Blumenthal yesterday, because Max had a confrontation with Adam Schiff. Actually, I might as well play that. Let's see if I can play it. I already went longer than I wanted to anyway. I think Sabby gonna do a stream in like an hour. I'm not gonna like get in her way. But I already went a little bit over, so I'm gonna see if I can find I'm very mad, especially now that I saw the clip. I think this will be the last thing that we cover on this stream. Is Max Blumenthal's confrontation with Adam Schiff. Because when I interviewed him on my show yesterday, that was when he just left and got back from the Capitol. And you guys was waiting for him to join. He literally joined the stream before and told me what happened. But we didn't have the video. We didn't have the video available. So let's react to this because this is what Max was talking about with me yesterday. So this will be the last thing we cover today. Because I got a lot to say about it. I really wish I saw this video. Max is live with Jimmy Dore right now. That says a lot. Here, let's watch the video, and then obviously I think we already went long enough anyway.
Give them a moment, please.
Yeah, this isn't just.
So here's the video.
Representative Schiff, do you think we could reallocate $4 billion from apartheid Israel to free housing for Americans? The $4 billion that you allocate every year to apartheid Israel?
You see his reaction? He's like, no, this motherfucker did not just ask me a real substantive question. Now you got to pretend that he doesn't exist. One thing I want to highlight, one thing that caught my mind when I watched this video is look how much of a psychopath that he is. Like being confronted with all your crimes and doesn't even flinch. I just want you to keep that in mind while you watch this video. I have one more thing to say because, like, why is Cori Bush giving him legitimacy? That's another conversation.
Why Jesse Jackson opposes all the wars you support? Representative Schiff, Jesse Jackson opposes all the wars you support.
Can we give them a moment, please? Can we just give them a moment, please?
What about is there any war you have opposed, Representative Schiff? Is there any war you've opposed? Those wars cost a lot that could be spent on housing for Americans.
Am I tripping? Is that AOC?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm mistaken. You see that?
Housing for America. Any war you've
Her. Or maybe I'm mistaken.
Representative Schiff, is there any war you've
Yeah, that is AOC. You see that? Sorry, guys. I didn't notice that the first time I seen this video. But it's AOC right there.
Those wars cost a lot that could be spent on housing
Ted
for
Lou.
Can we
Americans.
just give them a moment, please?
Yeah, this isn't just a matter of different politicians having different solutions to help us reach common goals. It's yet another front in this country's ongoing war against the poor.
What has Adam Schiff done but talk about a new Cold War with Russia, supporting Israel, giving money to war instead of the poor? He stands for everything Martin Luther King was against. And he's here for a phony photo op. This pro-war right-wing Democrat wants a photo op with Jesse Jackson when Jesse Jackson opposes every war that he supported. Why did you support the genocide in Yemen? Why do you support the brutal assaults on Palestinians? Why not? He's a pro-war legislator.
Can you please
This is
stop?
a public space.
This is something not about
You don't
this.
control this. The
I
people
don't,
control this.
but they're here with their time. They are taking.
So Karen comes to defend the war criminal. And this is why what we preach here is about intersectionality, connecting all these issues together. You see how she says that this issue isn't about the war crimes that Adam Schiff endorsed. Yeah, and Max is going to bring it up. Yes, it is. Because if Adam Schiff is for funding the apartheid state of Israel, giving them billions of dollars a year, that money that we are not spending on the homelessness crisis. If he supports all these wars and the expansion of the military budget, that's money that is not being spent on the homelessness crisis. So these things are connected, Karen.
Time for us as the
He's here
people.
for a photo op. He
No,
gives
he
all
is
our
not.
money to war.
Please stop.
War is part of the topic.
Look, you have the freedom of speech, but this is about something else. This is about people's homes.
Yes.
People are
Why
going
are we
through a
spending
crisis
$4
right now.
billion on Israel every year instead of free housing for Americans?
Boom.
Thank you so much.
$5 trillion.
Boom.
Adam Schiff doesn't agree. He should be pressured. This is not your friend. $4 billion a year to apartheid Israel. We need to put pressure on these people who are giving our money away that should be spent on free housing.
I cannot explain how much I wish this video was available before I interviewed Max Blumenthal. I really wish, because he jumped on right when he had this conversation. I really wish I seen this video when he came on. He described the video during our interview, but I really wish. You guys see why I talk about intersectionality, right? You guys see why I connect all these issues. Karen doesn't understand that the issue of homelessness is connected to Adam Schiff being a war criminal. Like, I really wish, because what everyone there in a rational society should be doing should be calling him out, not giving him legitimacy. And this is kind of the point that Max made. And I wish we could hammer this more because I didn't see the video. But why the fuck is Cori Bush getting Adam Schiff legitimacy there? Where she was like, hey, look, Adam Schiff, thank you for being here. And everyone allowing him to take photos. You guys should be pressuring him because he is not reallocating the sources required to end the homelessness crisis. He is for expanding the military budget by $80 billion, which is 4 times more than what it costs to end the homelessness crisis. So this is what the protest should be about. The eviction moratorium, which was extended, only lasts for 60 days. So what are we going to do to cover for the homelessness people when the eviction moratorium expires? These are the real questions we got to start asking people. And the guys there, Ted Lieu, Adam Schiff, they don't support those solutions. So why are you here? You're here for the photo shoot, like Max highlighted. And what left activists should be doing, like if you're like Cori Bush and you're like AOC and you actually a left intellectual, you should be calling that out too. Like you should be there with a speakerphone like, hey, Adam Schiff, I'm glad that you are here supporting the homelessness crisis and the solutions to that. Why aren't you reallocating the funds that we spend on the apartheid state of Israel to fight homelessness? You shouldn't be here unless you support that. The people can be there because they can show support, but you're a politician. If the politician is there, we should not be shaking hands with him. Oh, thank you for being. There should be constant pressure on these people. What the fuck? Like, how are we gonna fight the enemy that we're not even properly calling out? Like, how are we gonna primary these corporate Democrats if you're not making the argument publicly that these people aren't your friends? Now Adam Schiff is gonna be like, yeah, we would stand at with Cori Bush and LC, and we are the reason why we extend the eviction moratorium. Shouldn't have gave him that victory. And look at the shitlib Karens that are willing to protect Adam Schiff from the mean reporter that challenging him on his record. This is why I don't trust these white liberal moderates. Yeah, it's sad that the crowd wasn't even calling them out for this because the Democrats are complicit with this. If I was there, I really wish I have access to travel to these damn things. I'm in Kansas City, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I never had access to these these things. But I will be calling out Schiff and Democrats for the anti-homelessness architecture that Democrats support. Call them out for ending the wars, like all this stuff. Like Max did an amazing job there. Amazing job. But I like to analyze this on multiple levels. Like, why is Cori Bush, AOC giving these people legitimacy? Because even if I accept your guys' premise that we got to take over the Democratic Party, your strategy is not fishing at it. If we're going to take over the Democratic Party, that means we are primarying the neoliberals. In order to primary the neoliberals and defeat them with progressives, we have to paint them as the enemy of the people. That's how we win. You guys pretending that Adam Schiff and neoliberals are somehow better than Republicans when they're not. How does that help the left movement? That doesn't make sense. I'm not even for taking over the Democratic Party, but my strategy helps you guys. When I go after Joe Biden, when I go after neoliberals all the time, that only helps you guys because we are weakening the neoliberal establishment that you need to primary. So I don't even agree with you guys on your tactic, but you guys are actually following through with your tactics in a less effective way than I am. Yeah, and Max talked about that on the show. They talk about their upbringing. They're not activists. Their career. Like if you're a lefty intellectual, there's no reason why you can't highlight this and see the importance of that. And last point, the Democratic mind does not want you to connect these issues together. You see how that lady was like, "Oh, this is not about the war. This is about homelessness." Like, she don't even understand how these things are connected. And I think that's by design. Like, if we have the homelessness protests, we should be talking about the military-industrial complex. You guys saw my speech I gave during the Medicare for All speech marches. I uploaded it on Friday and Leftists. If you ain't seen it, check it out. I gave a speech in the Kansas City protest, and I brought up foreign policy. I brought up the police state. I brought up the rampant militarism that we spend our money on, and I use that as a point to acknowledge that we can pay for Medicare for all. So when you talk about and we protest these one issues, you should never just talk about that one issue and only that issue. Like that's the problem. You need to connect all the issues. So when I talk about Medicare for all, I brought up black issues. I said it was one of the most pro-black policy platform because healthcare is a black issue. It's the reason why our wealth been siphoned. So when you had a homelessness rally, you got to bring up how our funds are being diverted to take care of people to be shifted to the military. That was just a wonderful job by Max there. Like I said, I wish I saw that video. I wish that video would have been available before we had our conversation. But anyway, that's my breakdown. That's my analysis of that. Like, there's so much to say about that video, but I think I'll leave it there. Like, the people just being content, the Karen trying to tone police. Like, during my interview with Max Blumenthal, he mentioned that. I just couldn't understand what he was talking about. Like, I knew that he gonna have people tone policing, but man, it was still seeing it. It was wild. But anyway, I think Sabrina Sagg's gonna be live on tonight. She's killing the game recently, so check out Sabrina tonight. I know tomorrow, Comrade Misty on Bitch is gonna have RJ and I think JB. Damn, I may be getting it wrong, but she's gonna have some FHL members on there. We are trying to we're gonna be on a lot of different shows. We upload every day. I will be live with CJ tomorrow. We're gonna discuss defunding the police. So hopefully you guys enjoy the stream. If you did, please like, subscribe. Because I think I'm gonna be on the panel almost every single day this week. I think. Cause me and CJ, we're gonna interview Alex Fatali, a big advocate of defunding the police. So I'm interviewing him with CJ tomorrow. Thursday we're gonna have the roundtable with all the Fred Hampton Leftists host. So Thursday is the big show that you guys want to catch because all of us be there and we will cover the hot topics of the day. So, and this Saturday I have Sherry Honkala on from the Poor People's Army. Talk about what they're doing to advocate for the poor and the lawsuit they have against the state. The point is, as you guys see, we try to upload and provide great content every day. So please support the channel. You can support us on Ko-fi. But the best way to find a way to support us is simply go to fredhamptonleftists.com. Fredhamptonleftists.com. You can check out all the links that we have. And what I advocate for, I think, especially now that we're a expanded network, if you have a favorite show, if you enjoy this show, if you love Nerdologics, if you love Revolutionary Jargon, if you love the JB Show on Sunday, just to name a few, support the individual content creators, support the hosts, donate to JB's GoFundMe, support Tour for the Poor with Rome, support the Facts and Fire podcast with Finney by donating to her mutual aid. So that's another real way to support us because as we grow, you're gonna see us out there more challenging the politicians, doing more rallies. Like if Finney was there in Washington, I would love to do more action like that as well, but I can't travel because I'm broke. So as we grow, you're gonna see us get more into these kind of expanded actions. So anyway, check out Fred Hampton Leftists. This is Social Cinema. Sign out. Thank you guys for watching.